It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
We're live at Tiebreakers, laboring on this Labor Day. Hi, everybody. Patrick Johnson with you. We are up and running here on a Victory Monday. Pirates with the opening win. First time since 16 that ECU gets the victory to start the season. 42-3 in convincing fashion over Norfolk State. We'll hear from Mike Houston during our Houston Huddle this hour. It is brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy. Also, Jim Szoke with the ECU Sports Radio Network and Panthers Radio Network will be on with us as well. Szoke, of course, will be heard on 103.7 at 7 o'clock. Talk 103.7 with Panther Talk as Carolina gets set to open the NFL season Sunday at New Orleans. We've got Philip the Ref Pilkington, fresh in from Darlington, producing the show and anchoring the update desk. Pilk, how's it going?
I'm good, Patrick. A little tired, but I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Who won the race? I have to admit, I wasn't paying that much attention to Darlington this weekend.
Hey, golf was on. I know. We all know what Patrick's priorities are. It's ECU
what?
athletics, and then it's golf.
You know what I actually watched this weekend? I did not watch any of their golf.
Really?
But you know what I did watch?
What?
I watched the WNBA yesterday afternoon. I watched Caitlin. Well, actually, I was getting ready for the show and for the week ahead and all that. But I was watching Caitlin Clark and the Fever beat the Dallas Wings.
You are officially a city boy if you have chosen the WNBA over NASCAR. So
WNBA. Well, I am a city boy.
However,
despite growing up in the mean streets of K-Town, I am a city boy.
However, Chase Briscoe probably won the race well after your bedtime. So
if this thing were at all at night, it was over with.
Yeah, I think the race ended about 9:50.
Oh, yeah, I was totally zonked out at that point. I had not even turned over yet at that point. So we got Szoke coming up. We got Houston, Coach Houston coming up. Pilk will wrap up the show today. Pilk, any exciting moments from Darlington?
Yeah.
Outside of your personal achievements or personal destruction of aluminum cans?
No, I mean, I think Briscoe having to win to get into the playoffs and him doing that. And then Tyler Reddick winning the regular season championship by 1 point despite sounds like he had some digestive issues and was worried for majority of the race that he may have some activity in the attic and the basement, but he was able to hold it down. And but I would say that was the exciting because there was some times where it sounded like he might have to pull out of the race.
Let me say, while you're on here, Pilk, Clay Walker's over to my right with ECU Sports Properties. They were so gracious to allow us to be in their tent for the pregame show. That was awesome. So much fun.
That was. The sun wasn't in our eyes like it's been in the past. We got, we were able to have cold water. They were nice enough to bring us some of that. So no, it was good. And I feel like there was a little more fans, gathered watching it there, at least that last half hour or so being there in the tent. And then shout out to Drew Steele because at first the power was not working. And he came over with the magic touch and turned it on. So that was big.
Yeah, Drew's a good one. We also have here with us on site today, Dom Szoke.
I think we're going to lose.
There it is. There's the soundbite. The man of many hats. Did you think we were going to lose the other day, Dom? He did not. So, yes, there we go. Szoke is all on the Pirate train this year. He's not as negative as he was last season.
Well, here's the thing. He didn't say that before the Gardner-Webb game. We're going to see what he says Saturday when we're playing Old Dominion. He might come in and be like, losing by 50. For all we know, I mean, Dom for all we know, he might not even show up to work Saturday because he'll be so depressed about the Pirates.
No, I think you are. I think you're doing all that Saturday, aren't you? You're running the whole show, from what Dom was telling me.
Oh, Dom's not doing any work on Saturday.
Yeah, Dom's going to watch the game as a fan.
Oh, he's going to watch the game, but I think he's got to come help out a little before. Is what I was told.
Well, you work that out. That's between you guys. I will be on I'll be on a television assignment, so I won't be with you. So, but that's a story for another day.
Well, it sounds
40,
like you have to get your hair and makeup done, and we don't, so I'll take it.
I'm a city boy. I always get my hair and makeup done.
That's
Yes,
true.
exactly.
Yeah.
42-3, Norfolk State. First time that the Pirates in 8 seasons start the campaign 1-0. I think a lot of what was expected from East Carolina on Saturday. I like Jake Garcia. I think Jake Garcia is not only capable, but I think he's very collected at quarterback. Yeah, he had the 3 turnovers. I guarantee you he won't try to make those passes again unless it's, a Hail Mary type of thing. But and no, it's not an earthquake. That's David Horn setting up for the coaches. No, you're fine. You're fine. It's just 2 people watching on Facebook, David. It's fine. Thousands listening. But just a couple, my mom and somebody else watching on the Facebook is all it is. So don't worry. It's fine. I just didn't want the good people that are watching in Japan to think there was some sort of earthquake here going on. No, there's not. We're good. We're fine. Let me see what else from that. I think, Pilk, a promising beginning from this offense. Obviously, you don't show all your cards in a game where you have more talent and are the better team. But I like what potentially could be with this offense. I'm pretty excited about it. What say you, Pilk?
Yeah, I am as well. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Philadelphia Eagles' current offense with a lot of that RPO. They pushed the ball down the field, but it wasn't, like you've been saying all summer, it's not really the true air raid. You had that deep crosser in there sometimes, but, man, the physicality of these receivers is going to allow John David Baker to do lots of things. We had catches in traffic. We actually had one play where a receiver, I believe it was Winston Wright, don't quote me on that, actually lined up on the end of the line of scrimmage with his hand down in the dirt in a tight end spot. You had versatility within the tight ends to be both blockers and explosive playmakers. So he can do whatever he wants, I think, with these guys. And there's a lot of depth in all 3 rooms, wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs.
I also think that the receivers did a really good job. Brock Spalding on one of the kickoff returns threw a block. Wright, I believe it was, threw a heck of a block on one of the runs. The receivers did a really good job of blocking in the offense. The running game did get churned up. They did average over 4 yards a carry. I still think you're going to have to run the football with some effectiveness at some point, but I like the idea of pushing the ball down the field and like what we saw there. Defense was suffocating, as you would expect. Pirates with 500-plus yards of total offense. To me, the concern area, clearly the turnovers. But I think outside of that kind of funky turnover on the punt situation, I think everything else was kind of what you would call like correctable errors. There are things you can fix and that are easily fixable. And I don't know about you, Philip, but I don't mind the interceptions downfield because you're trying to push the ball downfield. Now, would you want them to be better throws? Would you want them to be completed? Yes, but I'm not as concerned about that maybe some other people are. They weren't exactly arm punts necessarily, but, I mean, you get the point. If you're turning it over down inside the 5, which I think 3 of the turnovers came inside the 6. So if you're turning it over deep in the opposition territory, that means they got to drive against this defense, and I don't think a lot of teams on this schedule are going to be able to put together that kind of drive if you do turn it over deep downfield. Also, yes, go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say you're not, but to answer your question originally, yes, I 100% agree with you. You were playing with reckless abandon, and it cost you some turnovers.
Well,
but,
you're
hey,
also
let's be
making
aggressive.
some throws and see what you can do.
Yeah, you're trying to see what you can do because
Right, yeah.
you know that it's probably not going to cost you the game. And I think some of the decisions and some of those turnovers probably don't happen if they're playing an FBS opponent because, hey, they're just kind of trying to open it up, see what happens. And, cost them a couple of times. But, hey, at the end of the day, you won the game. You play the game to win the game. Didn't hurt you too bad.
The high snaps on the offense were a little bit of a concern at center. I know you got a veteran there and Dustin, but that was a little bit of concerning. They were a little soft at times, I thought. As a former 8-man football center who snapped out of the shotgun, and if I had not had a faulty thumb, I'd probably be doing it in the NFL now. I'm kidding, of course. But, I mean, that's something you pay attention to. The other thing I would say, I'm still a little – there's improvement on the offensive line, and eventually they wore down the opposition. They wore down Norfolk State, and I think that's got to be obviously what the plan is here. The offensive line, those guys just have to stay healthy and stay fit and keep their breath. So they will be able to create some more blocking lanes potentially to run the ball later in games. So that's just my assessment of it. There were some things on special teams that, again, are correctable errors. But I think overall, I left that game. Look back at the Garner-Webb game last year, and that was not exactly even though the Pirates won and they scored 40-plus points, that was still kind of like going to the dentist and not getting Novocaine. I mean, they were still like a teeth-pulling kind of deal with that, the Garner-Webb game last year. This seemed like a whole – and the only reason I compare it to the Garner-Webb game, that's an FCS opponent. It still was a little bit of a it was a lot to go on to try to get everything done. You know what I mean? So this seemed a lot more fluid.
I agree.
Your assessment.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Gardner-Webb game, it seemed like the running Bulldogs had a lot of turnovers, gave ECU a lot of short fields, and they just kind of took advantage of it. That's why they were able to score 44 points. But to your point, there wasn't this fluency in the offense. It wasn't as two-dimensional. You didn't involve the tight ends, and it was kind of like the playmakers were the playmakers in that game, whereas this game, the playmaker was just whoever happened to have the ball in their hands. And is to guess who was going to get the ball in their hands. It was just some guy wearing an eligible number because no matter who they put on the field, it seemed like they were able to make explosive plays.
Last night, LSU gave that game up to USC. I'm happy for Lincoln Riley, but LSU should have won that game. Virginia Tech losing to Vandy. I guess that's the big upset from this weekend. I mean, if I missed one, I don't really recall another one.
I mean, there were some teams that were in fights that shouldn't have. Like, Texas Tech beat Abilene Christian in overtime. That shouldn't have happened. UCLA should not have been in overtime.
Struggled with ODU.
Yeah. I think ODU's not bad.
No, I don't think ODU's a bad team either. They dominated that game physically up front.
They did.
But they had turnovers, and that cost them. And it's tough to win on the road against an SEC team. I don't care who it is. Most watched Saturday for ABC since 2017, Bill.
Oh, that's good. But, hey, it's week one, and there was probably the best games you've had on week one in a long time. And, I think more people are inclined to watch because it was the first competitive football in 6 months.
So we got Free Shoes University tonight against Boston College. I think otherwise this would be a little bit of a snoozer, other than I think it'd be interesting to see how Florida State responds after losing in Ireland.
Well, they're coming off a heartbreaking loss. They're coming off, it was, 9 days ago, but they're also coming off a little jet lag. I know when I've traveled internationally, it's actually worse coming back than it is going. The adrenaline's kind of pumping when you're going. I know. When you come back, it's a little tough. So
you're posting all these pictures of what you did on your summer vacation today, like you were in elementary school. You were telling everybody what you did on your summer vacation. And I looked at all the places you went. I mean, you were at a pro sporting event. You were white water rafting. When I travel international, I mean, when I grow up, I want to be Philip Pilkington. If I die today and come back and reincarnate, I want to have Philip Pilkington's life. That's what I want. I want to be the ref.
Well, I appreciate it. None of that stuff was international. It was just in Colorado. I got family there. It's all it costs is a plane ticket together.
Colorado's a little bit of a foreign land. Colorado's a little bit of a foreign land.
Yeah, foreign people there, that's for sure. But no, we got a free place to stay, so it's not really that.
I'm sure it's a mansion.
Well, it might be. Plead the fifth on that one.
You're not slumming it, trust me.
No.
You're not slumming it in Colorado. All right, we'll hit a break. Jim Szoke next. The Szoke man will be with us. Looking forward to that. Szoke will have his first double dip of the weekend, so we'll talk to him about that. Talk some Pirates and Panthers with Jim Szoke. We are live at Tiebreakers this afternoon. Our Houston Huddle coming up in just a little bit, plus Inside Pirate Athletics at 6 o'clock with ECU head coach Mike Houston on the ECU Sports Radio Network and here on 94.3 The Game.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Pirate game days, there's nothing like them. The atmosphere,
First down.
the tradition, the matchups, the magical finishes. Be a part of Pirate Game Days. Season tickets are as low as $115. Reserve your seat today to be a part of the experience of Pirate Game Days at Donnie Ficklen Stadium this fall.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready? Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
All right, Pilk, we got Szoke.
We do.
All right, Jim Szoke with the ECU Sports Radio Network and Panthers Radio Network. You'll hear Szoke following Inside Pirate Athletics on our sister station, Talk 103.7 WTIB with Panther Talk, the one before the first regular season game. We'll talk a little bit about the Panthers, but we say hello to Jim Szoke, who is joining us here. Jim, when I set the alarm for 5, but I woke up at 4:37, and I thought, I bet Zoke's not up yet, because he works at a company that doesn't make him. Actually, I get up because I had to do some work, so, and it's my own doing.
Wow.
But you got to sleep in.
I did sleep in, and I was out of my usual timing because I got back home about a little bit after 2 from the game Saturday into Sunday morning, so I wasn't tired Sunday night. So I stayed up later Sunday night and then woke up. I'm not going to tell you the time I woke up today. I'll just make you mad. But
hey, I was going to ask you. Oh, what?
I get up at 4 o'clock every day. 4 o'clock Monday through Friday.
Are you and me both?
Time I would have got up today. I slept till 10 today.
I can't tell you the last time I slept. I mean, if I sleep till like 7 or 8 on a day I don't have to get up, I consider it oversleeping. Wow.
No, I haven't got the dog and came back to bed and fell back asleep for like another 3 hours. It was ridiculous.
See, I get a nap though during most day. I try to work it in. Like tomorrow's a big nap day.
Yeah,
I'll be going back to the working man's beach, and then I'll just take a nap tomorrow after all my stuff. In between this and the afternoon show, I'll take a nap. All right, the great Jim Szoke's with us. Well, you got to get beauty rest, Jim. As you're as handsome as I am, this just isn't by happenstance.
Yeah,
this is a lot of work.
Happen on its own. Yeah,
right, a lot of work. Jim, what do you think of Jake Garcia at quarterback?
I mean, like everybody, I think it was like everyone was excited to see offensive production and that I call it turbo, because in the NFL, you have tempo, and then when you're hyper fast, it's turbo. I thought it was more turbo than tempo offense there. I thought he handled it by and large well. I think he got a little greedy. couple times there at the goal line and wanted to get the touchdown when probably could have taken a smaller bite. But that's to be expected, right? When you're running plays that fast, the first time against competition, he didn't even play a game on the field last year for Missouri. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I thought overall, high grades for him for throwing for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he knows you can't be turning the ball over 3 times as far as the interception part of the turnovers went in that game. And that stuff will get corrected and obviously more thought about as they continue. I think his offense will only get better and better as they get more and more accustomed to running it in game action as the weeks go on.
Yeah, 155.8 the QB rating, and I like the fact that he was nonplussed. He didn't let the turnovers bother him. He came back out and still was very confident.
I think that's one of the things they talked about in making the selection. Again, they have 2 great choices at quarterback to start. But I think kind of maybe one of those things is just that cool demeanor. Every time they talked about him was just, how he just is unrattled. And they said if he's up or down late in the game, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. He's the same kind of even-keeled guy, and you need that at quarterback. You need that short memory when things don't go the way you want with an interception or a bad play. And I think he's got that. And that's part of being a leader. So you're the quarterback, you're the leader. If he doesn't get frazzled, that should keep everybody else in the offensive huddle pretty calm too.
The great Jim Szoke joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show today. Szoke will be with us every Monday, with the exception of one Monday during the course of the football season, unless he makes a phone call from a plane. And I think he should do that. But I wouldn't be paying that bill, so it's really up to Jim if I can convince him to do that. All right. What else stood out on the offense, Jim? What else stood out to you offensively, or what other players may have stood out to you, Jim Szoke, offensively?
I think, to me, the fact that 10 different players had receptions in the game, and obviously part of that was who they're playing. But the fact that they have that, we see some of that depth, and we think about the fact that they didn't even have Chase Sowell for this game. So I just feel like there's not only more talent, but the depth at the talent positions. And even getting down to the 4th running back with London Montgomery, I know it was against their backups too, with his backups blocking for him. But you could just watch and see in the eyeball test and see that there's a lot of talent with this offense and a lot of dynamic playmakers. And so I think, the tight ends being that involved, 3 touchdowns, but beyond that, just how involved they were and how dynamic they are in the receiving game is going to give whoever's at quarterback and Jake Garcia, that guy, that so many options to pick from. And I do think they're going to, I know they ended up kind of almost a 50-50 split running pass by the end of the game because they were running the clock out. But for most of the game, I think the first 8 plays were all passes. I think we'll probably see more of the running game in these future games as far as the early part of the game and not be maybe so pass heavy all the time with the RPO.
I was really impressed with the way, and again, you maybe consider the competition and time of game it was, but London Montgomery, these weren't garbage time reps to him. I thought he ran his downhill and ran his tail off.
You could see how shifty he is. I mean, that plays at anybody.
Wiggle.
So and then, that was lacking last year because JBS for a good part of the year was dealing with an injury, and of course Rajay was dealing with not being 100% back first half of the season, and then he kind of got clicking towards the end as far as being back at full speed. You got all those 3 guys, including Gunn, and then Montgomery, all fully ready to go right now. And there is you get that escapability because not every time is a block made. Sometimes a running back has to beat a man on the edge or whatever and make his own play to be able to get a bigger running play out of it. I think they have that with these guys. And to his credit too, I thought when Jake Garcia had to get out of the pocket and run, it wasn't for big gains, but he escaped pressure. He would pick up a few yards where there might have been a sack. So things like that all add up into the effectiveness of the ground game.
Jim Szoke, Panthers Radio Network, Panther Talk tonight on our sister station, Talk 103.7 WTIB, also play-by-play for football at the ECU Sports Radio Network. Let me ask you, Jim, the defense. We know it's a great defense. They were suffocating. You would expect that kind of performance against an FCS, a lower-tier FCS team. 17 tackles for loss, barely any yards rushing allowed. So you would kind of expect that. How do you saw this defense, the eyeball test every game, week in, week out last year. We know that was the thing that really kept East Carolina in a lot of games last season. Did this defense look even more aggressive and perhaps exotic at times compared to last year?
Yeah, and I think, well documented when you don't score a lot of points on offense, you can't get too crazy on defense, because if you make one mistake, it could really cost your team the ability to have a chance to be in the game. And we were just scoring so little last year that I don't think Blake Harrell and the defense could be nearly as aggressive as they would like to be. Now, they're not going to just throw the kitchen sink every time this year, but I think they do have that ability at times to really, do some extra things. I think, for one, they can get there with 4 defensive linemen. They're that good up front. I think when they really want to send a blitzer or two, they have more confidence. I mean, you got a shutdown corner like Rebel, you feel like you can do that. And he became closer to that player towards the end of last season, second half of that season, but he heads into this season with that kind of a reputation. And then IBM's playing really well in the other corner. So gives you a lot of confidence to be able to be more exotic, as you said, kind of be a little bit more aggressive in your defensive play calling out there. I just like the whole mentality. I like the whole, let's try to be the best defense in the nation. Let's not just get interceptions. Let's get pick sixes. Not let's get PBUs. Let's get picks off of those. So I like the mindset, but I think the talent is there to back it up too. And I think you and I talked in the pregame show down at the tent. Zakai Barker is going to be a big part of this defense. He led the team in tackles first game. I think he's going to be the guy that's just that steady, 8 to 10 tackle guy every game, and you need that in the run game.
Mike Edwards, the third, also really good at the linebacker spot. The great Jim Szoke with us here. Hey, Szoke, all right, so let's get to the areas of improvement you think the team has to have before they go to ODU Saturday.
Well, they're playing on the road, first of all, against an ODU team that probably cost itself a win with the turnovers they had, which were 4. And they were at critical times and set up the 2 touchdowns for South Carolina. So we could be talking about a Monarchs team that just beat an SEC team for the first time in their program history. So that shows you how good they are. They're very good on their defensive side, too. So this would be, for the offense of the Pirates, a lot more of a test than what they faced last week. They got Jason Henderson, who's a linebacker, who is, I think Phil Steele had him as a preseason All-American, and he's second in the nation last year in tackles, first in the nation 2 years ago. Denzel Lowry, I know Coach Houston brought him up in his talks this week. He's a huge nose guard and stuffs the run and also gets tackles for loss, gets to the quarterback, and they've got a really good safety in Dron Manning. So I start with their defense first of all, and then their quarterback, kind of like Jake Garcia in that Grant Wilson, had all 4 of those turnovers. He had 2 picks. He had the 2 fumbles inside their own 10. So obviously that's going to be something he's going to be focused on and probably not doing again. He also fumbled it 2 other times, and they recovered 2 of those. So with our defense, hopefully some opportunities there, to force some turnovers and obviously some interceptions that could turn the game this week.
All right, Panthers, Jim, will open the season at New Orleans on Sunday. Improvement is really the name of the game this year, isn't it?
It is. I mean, when they talk about this season, whether it's Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, whatever, they talk about, they're just the progress they're trying to make this year, and they're really, not going to talk about, what the record may be and that kind of stuff. So I think we all expect the record has to get better. It will get better. But I think the biggest thing is what you're saying is just improving as a football team. They've improved their talent in a lot of different areas. I think Bryce looked fantastic in the one drive he had, which was a touchdown drive in the Buffalo preseason game. So if they can kind of just get him in the right path, doing good things with the newer weapons that are around him on offense, and I think, again, kind of returning kind of a veteran defense by and large, I think that's what they're looking for here. And I think they just have to get into the season and see where they are. I think they'll definitely win more games this year, but I don't think it was putting the big pressure on that as much as the development that's going to come over time, over the next year or 2 combined, to see what kind of team they got.
I think they're maybe more talented than the Saints. We'll see, though. Dave Canales' influence, what do you think that's been? And then how will that shape the way Bryce Harper plays in his sophomore year in the pros?
I think, for Bryce, his development is going to be more, I think, in tune with this coach. I think last year you not only had Frank Reich, you had Josh McCown, you had, to some degree, Jim Caldwell. You had all these different influences of, who was talking in his ear. I think with Canales, I mean, he's the primary play caller. Head coach, he's also the primary play caller. He made it a point to have, a very quick, having dinners, having meetings with Bryce Young and trying to get, to where they have a chemistry together quickly. So I think that's going to develop naturally. He really is an engaging coach with a positive energy about him. I think that's well with Bryce Young, a younger guy. So I think that development's going to come. And I think he's a modern coach. I think he understands today's kind of NFL. The ball has to come out quickly, all that kind of stuff, like ECU. can't be sitting back in the pocket. You got to protect your tackles and help them out by getting the ball out quickly, not hanging on to it too long. I think he did a lot of that in his rookie year. That I think with this year of growth now, he's going to have that ball coming out more quickly and have a better sense of the offense in general.
Looks like Ian Thomas is going to be out as well, so we'll see as far as weapons what that may or may not present. For the sake of time, Pilk, what you got? I know Pilk had a question for you or two on the Panthers, Jim.
Well, Jim, I was kind of going to go off the tight end thing here. Is Jordan Matthews, is he ready? I mean, he hasn't played, an NFL down in, 3-4 years. I know they originally cut him. They brought him back. This team needs a receiving tight end. Haven't had one since Olsen. Do you think he can really be that guy? Is he ready to go play NFL football?
He can do that. We saw him kind of struggle in the preseason. Why they released him at first was he's not a blocker at a tight end position, not a very effective one anyway. So I think as a receiver, he had a touchdown in that drive from Bryce Young against Buffalo. So I think he could do the receiving part of it, converted receiver to tight end. But they did draft Ja'Tavion Sanders. I think they expect a lot out of him early. And I do think that there's a possibility Tommy Tremble could play in this game. So they'll have some other options at the tight end position in addition to that. But I think, we'll see. Ian Thomas is the best blocker. I know people kind of give him a hard time because he's not maybe lived up to the expectations of his contract and all that, but he is a very effective blocker. So when he's not out there, they do miss that in the running game in particular.
All right. Thank you, Jim, very much. Great to talk to you. Have a great call on Saturday in Norfolk, and have a great show when you are in Panther Talk later tonight. We'll hear you at 7 o'clock on WTIB. Thanks a bunch, my friend.
You got it. Thank you, Patrick. Thanks, Phil.
All right, the great Jim Szoke with us here. Julia's in the house from Playfly. All right, we're going to hit a break. Pilk is going to give you an update, and when we come back, we're going to have our Houston Huddle presented by HealthWise Pharmacy, our exclusive chat every week with the coach of the Pirates, Mike Houston. So the Houston Huddle coming your way in just a minute, but right now, everything else going on in the world of sports, Pirate Nation and beyond, with our Pirate Report and Sports Flash update, the great Philip Pilkington. Phil.
Thank you, P-Man. And speaking of those Pirates, they had a great weekend in Pirate athletics. It started with the football team at a 42-3 victory over Norfolk State. Earlier today, Coach Houston spoke to the media, and the first people he praised was you, the Pirate Nation.
Like I said after the game, I really appreciate the students and our fan base for showing up, and had a great atmosphere and electricity in the stadium the other night, and great to get a win to open the season.
They weren't the only ones that were victorious over the weekend. Soccer knocked off UNC Wilmington 3-0 on Sunday night to remain undefeated. And volleyball was also down in Wilmington playing in the Seahawk Classic, where they went 3-0 on the weekend. In NFL news, Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zach Taylor was asked if Jamar Chase will be available for Sunday's opener against the Patriots, and he said that the team is taking it day by day. San Francisco 49ers have put rookie wideout Ricky Pascal on the non-football injury list, meaning he will miss at least the first 4 games. He was shot in an attempted robbery last week. He has been released from the hospital. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. On the other side of this timeout, we will have the Houston Huddle brought to you by HealthWise Pharmacy.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Hey Glenn, let's talk about a new program at Greenville Nissan.
Sure, sometimes bad things happen to good people, like credit hiccups.
Greenville Nissan just rolled out credit forgiveness.
If you've been making consistent car payments and you're tired of that high interest rate, this program is for you.
Get into a new Nissan with a manageable payment and keep that cash in the bank.
Come visit us at Greenville Nissan and drive your Nissan home today.
Hurry, this program ends September 3rd. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
the best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
Our Houston huddle for Healthwise Pharmacy, and head coach of the Pirates, Mike Houston, joins us here. East Carolina with an opening win, 42-3 over Norfolk State. They'll play Old Dominion on the road, 6 o'clock on Saturday. Coach joins us here. Coach, congratulations on the victory. And as you look at it, a great way to start the season and a lot to build on, it would seem.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be at home. Just great crowd. The stadium was energized. Just really appreciate our fan base showing up. Appreciate the students showing up. I think we had a full boneyard on Saturday evening, so it was a pretty electric environment in the stadium. And, happy to get the win. Certainly not satisfied with the way we played. We made way too many mistakes and, got to work to get those corrected. But I think our fan base and everybody should be pretty excited about some of the things they saw and some of the potential that this team has.
Coach, with the mistakes and the turnovers, all correctable, it would seem, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty easily corrected. I mean, it's just, some of it's anxiousness and, trying to go out and make plays and, some of it's some fundamental stuff, but, all of it we worked on yesterday and, the players understand and, they know we can't have those. And so, they'll get that stuff taken care of.
Back, just to pick back up on what you talked about with the crowd, 36-5 on a holiday weekend coming off sort of un-pirate-like season in a lot of ways. And as you said, 10,000 plus in the student section. I mean, that was a strong turnout. And they brought a lot of energy, too. I think that helped really energize the crowd, plus the play on the field. But the students were really into it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Casey Kelly's touchdown down there in the corner of the end zone, right in front of the boneyard, and the stadium went crazy, and just really, it kind of, that was I've been telling the new players and new coaches just about what game day's like here, and I think that's probably the first glimpse they got of it was, right there after that scoring catch.
Our Houston Huddle brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy as Coach Mike Houston joins us here on the program. Coach, Casey Kelly, really impressed with him. Runs really well, glides almost, great route runner. That touchdown reception would have been a big gainer, and it just seemed like he turned it on and made some moves, had some wiggle. Just overall, a really outstanding play, which led to 6. But he's going to be a matchup problem this year for a lot of defenses. Well, he's a savvy veteran and has played a lot of ball, and he's a complete player. He was very good in the run game Saturday, and did a great job, in the pass game when he got his opportunities.
he's an important part of our offense.
You look at the play of Jake Garcia, showed a lot of grit and a lot of composure, did have the turnovers, but, they were making plays. They were deep passes. You don't want the turnovers, but if you're going to have them, it might as well be an arm punt, I suppose. But when you look at the way that he bounced back and the offense stayed aggressive despite the turnovers, that had to be really pleasing for you and Coach Baker and the offensive staff.
I love it. I mean, he knows we can't have the interceptions, but he'll get that fixed. I mean, because they're things that he knows. So, but I love just his demeanor, and I told him, I said, do not change one thing. I said, that is exactly the guy we want on the field. Just his positivity and his energy, and he's very decisive, and he is not hesitant about anything. So I want him to be the same. I'd like for him to get down on some of those runs a little bit. I used to get on to Holton about not sliding and getting down and taking those hits, but Holton's a lot bigger than Jake is, so I'd like for him not to take so many hits. But boy, I thought he brought just a lot of energy to our offense on Saturday.
It's tough, Coach. It seems like those quarterbacks, when they get going, they become a ball carrier all of a sudden. I guess it's tough to get it in their mind because they're so darn competitive to get down and slide.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's what I was about to say is, Holton and Jake both are just such great competitors, and they don't want to lose a yard. So that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Mike Houston, our HealthWise Pharmacy Houston huddle, as Coach joins us after the 42-3 win over Norfolk State for the Pirates. Coach, with Garcia, did you feel like the team, even in the moments where he had the mistakes or turnovers, really rallied around him and responded to him as a leader?
No doubt. And that's what I told him yesterday. I said, listen, if we have a mistake, the team's got your back. Our defense, they know when we have a sudden change like that, they got to go out there and get a stop. But we talk all the time about the next play is the most important one, and I thought Jake did a great job of not letting one mistake come back and turn it into two, and have a short-term memory and move on and still keep playing. So, that's the deal. Is we got to make sure that we protect each other, and I know this, those guys on offense, they believe in Jake.
That's awesome. Coach Mike Houston with us here as we talk the Pirates win. On offense, I think a flash and signs and some proof of what this offense can really be at times. Special teams, again, some things that can be cleaned up pretty easily, but I think you could see a difference in a lot of the execution on special teams, at least I could. Then obviously the defense was dominant. Again, these are all kind of correctable mistakes that come with this, but I don't think you can ever really underestimate the fact that when you start your season off, as you said Saturday night, you can't go 2-0 if you don't go 1-0. If you don't start with that win, sometimes it can not derail a season, but get it off on the wrong foot. This was just a real nice way for the Pirates to kind of get off on a good note to start 2024.
Well, it's nothing beats the confidence you have from a win, and the players know that the level of team that they played last Saturday is different than what they're going to play this Saturday. But still, you got to win. You played really well. You did a lot of great things. A lot of guys got to play. Our fan base got to see a lot of what we've been talking about with this offensive explosiveness, and so there's just so many positives from Saturday night, and the negatives we can get corrected.
One of the interesting things I thought too, Coach, was you talked about playing in the hurry up, but playing relaxed or maybe with a little more confidence. Right. Not that they were over eager, but could you explain that a little bit to the audience as far as running this offense at the breakneck pace, but doing so where you got the low heart rate and you have composure?
Well, I just thought, like the first drive of the game, I thought we were so anxious to play. I mean, I knew in the locker room, and I had to be careful with pregame speech and stuff. Just I told them, I said, they're ready to play, they're excited to play. I don't need to get them over the top. And so, they came out that first drive, and they were just so amped, both sides of the ball, to be back playing football. And they want to go score right now. They want to knock the runner out right now. And so after the first drive on both sides of the ball, I really thought we settled down and played really, really well. And, I thought we were able to tempo on offense, but we were under control, and we were able to put some pressure on Norfolk State and not be just reckless. And we settled down after that first drive defensively, and I thought played really, really well all night.
Pirates got a pick six as well, and I know you'd love to see that out of the defense, not only generating a turnover, but cashing it in and providing some points on the scoreboard. This year, the scrimmages, you've talked about this, and Steven's talked about it a little bit with me. It seems like you would let the guys go in a turnover during a scrimmage or a practice just so they could kind of get used to setting up a return on an interception or on a scoop and score opportunity with a fumble.
Well, one of the things with a veteran defense is, those guys, they can think quickly on the run, and we've worked that a lot in practice about turning turnovers into points and, giving our offense, the ball in the best field position we possibly can. And so you're right. I let those go for just a second just to see if we're, are we blocking the intended receiver? Are we blocking the quarterback? Are we setting the wall for the interceptor or recover of a fumble? And then, hey, are we getting the ball into the end zone? And I thought that, Gavin made a very athletic interception, and I thought we did a great job of kind of giving him an escort down the sideline, getting him in the end zone.
Coach, one of the things you talked about, we'll continue to beat the drum, but among your first statements after the game Saturday, and I think you could see a lot of it with sort of proof in the pudding, the NIL, Team Boneyard, so important. We talked to a lot of the Team Boneyard guys on Saturday during breaks of the pregame show, talked with, or they were honored or recognized more appropriately during the game. Again, the Team Boneyard factor in this and the NIL factor in this is not only huge for this year, but it's going to be huge for years to come.
No, it's huge for the future success of the program. It is the reason that we're able to retain our top players and the reason that we're able to attract some of the transfers. That's more than just that. But I'm telling you, it is a major factor. And we would not have the roster we have without Team Boneyard. And so I can't say it loud enough, and I can't say it often enough that we need all of our fans to participate at whatever level they can. I don't care if it's $5 a month. If you're somebody that cares about Pirate football, cares about the success of the program, we need your support because the one thing we do have is we have masses. We have a passionate fan base, and there's a lot of them. And if they decide they want to do something, they can do it. And I think all of us are excited about what we saw last Saturday. The players are excited about the matchup this week at Old Dominion. But if you're talking about the long-term, sustainability of the program to achieve at a high level, then we have to, really get Team Boneyard going. So it is a critical factor.
If everybody that was in attendance on the tickets sold the other night, 36.5, gave $10 a month, boy, the NIL would be pretty strong. And that's really as little as it takes.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of a sudden now you're not, that far behind the other teams in our conference. You're probably out there, ahead of most of them. And so, that's the thing is we've got to get our fan base to understand that there's strength in numbers. And, we're fortunate that we've had some donors that have written some big checks. But, we don't need everybody to write a big check. We just need everybody to participate.
Coach Mike Houston with us, our Houston Huddle for Healthwise Pharmacy. Coach, last thing you mentioned, Old Dominion, they had a lead midway the fourth quarter, actually late into the fourth quarter before South Carolina took the lead. Did lose some productivity on the offensive end, but this is a program under Coach Rain that has been to a bowl 2 of the last 3 years. They come from they're right in their backyard. It's one of the most talent-rich areas in the country. So this is a program that is going to be fired up and ready to go, especially under the lights Saturday in Norfolk.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, they dominated South Carolina up front, with their defensive front, and should have won the game. They had the game won. They turned the ball over twice inside the 5-yard line and gave South Carolina 2 touchdowns where they had to go 3 yards. And the last one was late in the fourth quarter where ODU had the lead. So, they're kicking themselves today. They should have won that ball game. And so, they're plenty, pissed off about that. But this is a experienced team. It is a really, really good defensive football team. Offensively, they run a very similar offense to ours. They've been running it for several years and are very experienced at it. Their quarterback's a returner. They have a dynamic playmaker in the slot. I'm just telling you, watching that ball game, you're like, how in the world did you lose this game? So, they're fortunate, we're fortunate that our turnovers didn't cost us our game. They weren't as fortunate. They were playing a much more talented opponent.
Coach, thank you for the time as always, and we really appreciate it. Best of luck on the road at ODU.
Absolutely. We'll see you this weekend. Go Pirates.
That's Mike Houston in our Houston Huddle for HealthWise Pharmacy, and we'll be back right after this. Pilk will wrap the program up for you as we're here from Tiebreakers for the Patrick Johnson Show.
We're down to the final days of our summer sales event at Greenville Toyota.
Lease new RAV4s, $319 a month. Test drive the redesigned 2025 Camry, all with our advantage.
It's your last chance to save at Greenville Toyota.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves Tiebreakers.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time! Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job. Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Summer is here, and Sawyer's Fun Park is having a toddler summer special. From 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, Sawyer's has a $10 2-hour unlimited pass for ages 2 to 4. That's one toddler and one parent for just $10 every weekday morning. Sawyer's Fun Park summer hours are Monday through Thursday from 10 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 9, and Sundays from 12 to 8. Book your tickets online at SawyersFunPark.com and beat the heat this summer at Sawyer's Fun Park.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Hurry, the summer savings event is coming to an end. Don't miss your chance.
Enjoy your summer in a new Corolla for just $219 a month or a Highlander for only $399 a month. Got a trade? Get cash for it or trade for a new Toyota.
Hurry in to Greenville Toyota
And
today.
now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into the Patrick Johnson Show. Philip Pilkington taking you home here as we get set for Inside Pirate Athletics. Patrick had to sign off so that David Horn, our on-site technician, who always does such a wonderful job for the ECU Sports Network, can get everything set up there on site for Tiebreakers. Be sure to listen right here on 94.3 The Game or our sister station, 107.9 WNCT. It's been a fun Monday. Victory Mondays are always fun. Hopefully next Monday can be a dual Victory Monday Monday with Jim Szoke, and hopefully we'll be talking about a Panther victory, although it's not likely, and a Pirate victory, a little more likely. So we're hoping to get both of those in, but hey, we hope you guys all had a good Labor Day. Hope you guys got to have some time off. It was a pretty good sports weekend overall. Tour Championship wrapping up. Scotty Scheffler finishes a dominant PGA season with a 7th win on tour this year, and he wraps up the FedEx Cup there. And of course, Pirate victory. There's some decent college football on, but week one there's always a couple of snoozers around the country. But hey, pretty good game last night. I was lucky I got to see the end of that one. We got back to the parking lot after the race down in Darlington. So hey, now it's all NFL football and college football from here on out. Little Monday night football tonight. Boston College and Florida State. We'll see how the Noles can respond after that abysmal performance they put on display over in Ireland. And they'll be playing Boston College. The interesting thing about this, when I was thinking about it, Florida State, back-to-back games here of which they are playing conference opponents. So they will start out in week 0 and week 1 with already 2 conference games. So they still have a handful of non-conferences to play at the end, including each of their last 3 when they take on Notre Dame, a non-true ACC team, Charleston Southern. Their FCS game is late, and then they take on Florida. So it's kind of weird at this day and time to see so many non-conference games so late in the season. But that'll do it for us here. Thank you to Patrick Johnson. Thank you to Mike Houston, and of course, Jim Szoke. So that'll do it for us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We're going to toss it to Inside Pirate Athletics on the other side of this time.